All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are decoding a really dark psychological transformation. We're going to approach this like we're journeying through some kind of gothic, graphic novel world, and we'll be following the fall of 7 souls, from saints to something else.
Okay, this line right here. This is the key. You have to understand this one line from the source material to unlock everything else. It perfectly sets up the central conflict we're about to see unfold, the civilized self versus the creature it keeps locked away inside. This is the main event of this whole psychic drama.
So, to really get this, I want you to imagine you're a wanderer. You've just walked into this strange, suffocating place called the City of Glass. And you look up, and that's the first thing you see. This absolutely chilling sight. It's like a dark welcome to a world that's been completely turned on its head, where these silent, heavy forces are reigning over everyone.
So let's start with what these figures are now, in their grotesque final form. The source describes them like they're torn right out of some ink-heavy comic panel, just dark silhouettes laughing against the scarlet fire of a, quote, hollow sun. So this is what you, the wanderer, observe. They're not human anymore. Not really. They're demonic gargoyles with these cold stone faces. And then you hear it. Instead of singing holy hymns, they're chanting forbidden names. It creates this rhythmic, mechanical thrum that's meant to sound like the repetitive pulse of the human soul itself. It is a direct mockery of everything they once stood for.
But here's the thing. To truly get why their mockery is so potent, you have to understand who they used to be. And the source material is very clear. They were the absolute opposite of what you're seeing now, perched up on those rooftops.
And here's their origin story. They were once symbols of perfect order, of morality, of rigid virtue. You know, that psychological superego, that little voice of rules and shoulds and shouldn'ts, but made real. And they were trapped in what the text calls a city of glass, a fortress of logic where their goodness was really just a defensive wall. And it was fragile and totally suffocating.
And wow, this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It shows you the two opposing forces at war inside a single soul. On one side, you've got the saint, the superego, human sanctity, logic. And on the other, the gargoyle, the erupting id, this primal, atavistic strength, and the abyss. This isn't just a story, you see. It's a map of a psychic civil war that ended in the total, crushing triumph of the dark.
So how in the world does a saint become a monster?
Well, the source is really clear about this. This wasn't some accident. It wasn't a random fall from grace. Nope. It was a deliberate, step-by-step, systematic psychological process of just coming apart. And this sequence breaks down exactly how it happened. First, the cohesive story the saints told themselves, their whole system of rigid morality, it just collapses right into the abyss. Then, the very idea of their human sanctity gets stripped away. And this reveals what was buried underneath all along, this nameless primal force. And finally, that repressed beast is given its true form, the gargoyle.
And this quote right here, it gets the absolute core of this whole transformation. Their virtue, their holiness, it was never their true nature. According to this text, it was just a mask, a costume they were forced to wear by the civilizing world to hide the beast that was always there.
Okay, so now we can finally understand the real meaning behind their mockery. That rhythmic chanting, that cruel laughter. It's not just random noise. It's a new philosophy. It's a dark liturgy. It's the creed for this new world they now command. The source actually calls their mockery a surgical grace. Just think about that for a second. Their cruelty is being presented as a kind of painful wisdom, like a sharp instrument designed to shatter illusions, to remove the cataracts of faith from the eyes of any wanderer who still clings to the old ways. And this connects to a really interesting philosophical idea the text calls the gay science of the abyss. Basically, they teach that by destroying old, stifling moralities, you are actually performing the highest act of creation. You're clearing the ground so a truer, more authentic self can finally emerge. So here's the bottom line. Their new faith is built on a really powerful rejection and an equally powerful acceptance. It's a sacred no to any external authority, to any heavenly shepherd. But it's also a deep yes to the self, to taking the dark, unmapped road of your own nature, no matter where it might lead. And this is their final lesson for you, the wanderer. That figure you were always taught to fear as the devil, the ancient foe. Well, it was never some external threat. It was simply the truest, most honest reflection of the parts of yourself you were told you had to repress.
And make no mistake, this transformation is not temporary, it's not reversible. It has fundamentally changed the reality of this city of glass. It has established a brand new kingdom with a new and totally unbreakable set of laws.
And here they are, the fundamental laws of this grim new reality. The triumph of the dark is final. An act of defiance is now more meaningful than any prayer. The evil you were afraid of was just the scorner living inside you all along. And that new and permanent night, that darkness they represent, it's not hiding in the shadows anymore. It walks openly, in the daylight.
And this is the final analysis from the source, the ultimate conclusion to their whole journey. The shadow, that repressed, hidden, dark part of the psyche, it's not just trailing behind anymore. It is now in complete and total control. It's the leader of the spirit.
And so we end right back where we started, on that unmapped road. After seeing these saints embrace their inner beast, the final question isn't about them anymore. It's about you. Who or what is your honest mirror?